Hector, yeah. So his capital punishment.
Hector.
From
Hector.
Navan.
Yeah. Hector. Yeah.
Let yourself go.
Hector, yeah. Let's go. Greetings, movie fans, and you're all very welcome to the Big Reviewski with Omniplex Cinemas and my Omnipass. My name is Owen Doherty, and this week myself, Justine Stafford, Rory Cashin, and especially Paul Moore. We want you to come and join us, on the dark side, because it's going to be a particularly evil, because basically we're all horrible people, aren't we? That's fair enough to say.
No arguments yet.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
That's a pretty accurate intro. It's probably the most accurate he's done ever.
Yeah. Plus, as bad guys, we always have more fun.
Yes.
We
We've
do.
got cool things to offer people.
But they're
We've got
usually
free.
very nice.
Oh, in real life?
in real life,
But this
yeah.
is real life.
Oh,
This stuff's just been
So
absolutely
I'm
horrible.
not nice, but the bad guys in cinema are.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want you to come and join the dark side because we're going to have a particular love fest. And we want you to get involved as well. It's going to be a bit hot and steamy.
What is the prize this
This
week?
is,
Oh, no, this is just my own personal invitation to everybody that's out there. Because we will be taking an in-depth look at the brand new Star Wars trailer, The Rise of Skywalker. We will have some Omniplex tickets to give away. We do have some of our final pairs of tickets to go and see Extraordinary as well. And we're going to have the big review that everybody has been waiting for this year. So be prepared to poop your pants. It is, of course,
Too late.
Oh, that's unfortunate. We might need to cut there and just go and change Paul's underwear. It's It Chapter 2. And you may have noticed, Justine, I am particularly delighted with your choice of hat attire this week.
well,
Attire?
Attire.
That works good.
I like it.
Yeah. Put that one down.
You're right, sorry, yeah, I'm going to take that.
Yes, so are we getting a good
Yeah,
tick?
we're going to
Getting a good tick. Happy days.
I'll give him 5 minutes.
I'll give him
5 minutes. I'll give him 5 minutes till it's crossed out.
2 whole seconds.
See, I know your mommy loves the hats, so
She really
this
does.
is like a double whammy because it's a hat and it's a shout to Derry. So
I really appreciate it. So it says, I heart Derry.
Derry,
Everybody
yeah.
hearts Derry.
Ever find that murderous clown that was rampaging around Derry?
No, still on the loose. Yep.
and it has
Down near the
it
bone
on the
line.
side. I think on one of the sides.
Oh, it is round the
That's
other way.
it.
There we go. It Chapter 2.
So now I can go. Sure, this is it. Chapter 2.
Right.
Rolls off the tongue.
This hat and you were meant to be together.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
And Paul, I see that you're wearing. I almost called Paul Rory there for a second. Sorry.
We're moulding into the same person. How terrifying is that?
Pori over here. Just lift up your. Remember, turn it into romance so far. I see you've got your Star Wars T-shirt on as well.
Never seen the film. Don't know what we're talking about. I'm going to wing it though. I'm very excited.
I can't wait
I'm
for
going to X-wing
that.
it.
And Rory, yours is themed
Flamingo.
flamingos.
Yeah.
The John Waters film, Pink Flamingo, sorted.
Good.
We'll have an in-depth look at that as well.
I don't think we should.
No, we probably
There's a lot of
shouldn't.
stuff in that film we can't talk about.
Well, Paul
I
did
would
poop his
love to
pants
hear your review of
already,
Pink
so
Flamingos. I would, yeah, maybe another time. Yeah.
maybe next week. But anyway, let's get stuck into this week's show. And before It Chapter 2, before The Rise of Skywalker, it's time for this week's big question on the Big Reviewski. And for this week's big question, it's over to Rory Cashin.
Well, with the arrival of It Chapter 2, and considering the first chapter made more money than any other horror movie ever.
Ever.
And, you know, the second part is still to come, so it's a pretty safe bet that this remake has worked out really, really well. So I wanted to know which horror movie should be remade. Now, I realised after I asked it
Yeah.
that it's not an easy question to answer because some should never be remade because they're iconic and they're brilliant and should never be touched. If anyone ever remakes Alien, I will burn the world down.
Oh, I better change my answer.
But then there's other ones, like, do you include one maybe that's already been remade and you think it should be remade again?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of even questions I asked. It was a lot of soul searching.
There was a lot of, like, jeepers.
Once I asked, I was like, oh no.
You were wrestling with this
I
question a
haven't
lot.
slept in a week, man.
Oh, jeez, I can tell just by looking at your face.
Thanks, yeah. The makeup girl didn't know.
The other issue with this was you have to have seen
horror films. That's where I'm
Thank you.
coming
Yes,
from.
this is
I
like-
knew you guys. I was like, he's
yeah,
almost saying.
I was like, out of the
original.
three horror films I've seen, which ones will I remake?
And one of them was The Devil Wears Prada. And that's just because
Yeah,
you
exactly.
misunderstood
The other was
title.
Showgirls. The other was Showgirls too.
Because it's horrifically good.
Yeah. But well, what did you go first, seeing as you had such torment with this week's big question? Your own fault.
Yeah, I brought it on myself and all of you.
Thanks for that.
I went with a adaptation of a video game. Video game is one of the scariest things I've ever played.
I think I know what this
And
Yeah,
the
Super Mario
movie-
Bros.
A lot of plumbing. And when the movie arrived, I was like, oh, that's an interesting director, and you've got a good cast. And oh, it's a big pile of poo. It was Silent Hill. That came out in, I think, 2006.
And you love the game as well.
The series of the games is incredible. It's a properly amazing horror idea of a specific town, not terribly unlike Derry, where so many bad things have happened over generations that it's actually become a place of horror.
Yeah, point of order, just Derry in Maine in America, not Derry here in Ireland. Thanks.
Don't, it's different.
Don't know that.
Don't know that
Derry in Ireland is perfect.
Never been, can't say. But yeah, the plot of one of the games is there's a husband who receives a letter from his wife, and she's like, we went on our honeymoon. I know things haven't been great between us lately, but I think we should reunite there and try and respark this. She'd been dead for 3 years. So
Sean Bean, isn't it?
that was the movie, yeah,
Yeah,
Rada
yeah.
Mitchell. But the plot of like one of the video games specifically was such a mind feck
Yeah.
that if they'd got the right people like David Cronenberg, if he'd have directed it, it would have been insanely good.
So the film, was it just a massive disappointment all around? Is it like a terrible adaptation of a video game?
The first one, they've had two. The second one was really, really bad. The first one was directed by a guy called Christopher Gans, who he made one movie called The Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is about werewolves, and it was actually quite good. So then when he came on for the second one, it was like, all right. And then the trailer came out, it was like, ooh, it looks good. And then when you sat down to watch the film, it was like watching someone play a video game, which is not entertaining. Because it was like, she goes to the hotel, she finds the key, that key opens the door to the fire building, and then she goes in there and she finds another piece. So there was bits in it that were really good.
The triangle head villain was pretty
Yeah,
good.
Pyramid Head
it's
is
good,
like
yeah.
an iconic villain. In
Pyramid
video games.
Head.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound scary at all.
The game is so good because it always reminds me of Jacob's Ladder, which is the most underrated horror film of all time, in my opinion. It's influenced so many different films, I thought. But it was like 2 out of 5, and when it was good, but then it just lost the plot completely. Like
Yeah, but the video games, if they're done correctly, could be some of the scariest things you've ever seen.
Brilliant. So Silent Hill. So you would get excited if you heard in the news, it's happening, they've greenlit a brand new remake.
I'd need
of
to
something.
see who's doing it.
Okay. Christopher
Like if
Gans.
they, like again, Hollywood. If you're like looking for someone to write it, I'll do it.
Roy's your man.
I'll do it.
Okay.
No problem. I've got a day off coming up.
Yeah, perfect. But you will come back on the show again and tell us all about it.
Yeah,
Kit
it's
Harington
gotta
was
be.
in the sequel to that, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
He was. He was the love interest in the terrible sequel.
Pyramid Man's love interest. Am I getting it right?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe in Rory's version.
Yeah, it's a
The
beautiful,
version I'm writing.
beautiful, sexy sci-fi. Okay, sounds good. Silent Hill, we'll take that.
I'd be there for that. Definitely.
Yeah.
I love the idea for you right now, because then you can interview yourself on the Big Reviewski and it would be mind blowing.
And then
Split screen.
I get
Let's
to
make it
review
happen.
my own movie later on.
Yeah.
Greatest thing I've ever written.
Slate yourself. You're terrible. Never make another
Everything but the
film.
writing was really good.
Hey, what are you doing later? Anyway, Justine, what
Yeah.
did you go for?
So-
Out of the 3 horror films that you've
I
seen.
haven't even seen 3, right? This was the first week where I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to have Supersonic as the answer, because I was like, I honestly cannot think of anything, right? So I'm going back. The only horror film that I have half seen is Paranormal Activity. And I watched that in the cinema, and the guys brought me along, my mates, because they laughed at me during it, because I'm just like this the whole way through. It reached a point where I had a scarf in my head and my friend was just narrating the film. And nothing happens in that film. She was just
Not a
like,
lot.
nothing's happening. Still nothing happening. And I couldn't look. So I was in a pickle because I haven't seen horror. So the film I picked isn't even technically a real horror film, but I went for Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice? What? Wait, does that okay, like, okay,
Buzz, like, okay, you're blatantly
got
Rory's
some,
like,
like the sandworms, I guess.
Now, hold on a wee second.
Depends
What-
how young you are watching it if you're afraid by it.
Yeah,
I
wait,
guess.
yeah, exactly. So I saw this as a kid and I was like, didn't sleep for a week.
So you were terrified by it? Okay,
No
well,
way.
that's fair enough. Then it
Genuinely
it worked as-
Michael Keaton's funniest role, I think, in that film.
He's so skeptical.
Wait till he hears that I picked Sleepless in Seattle. You know what I mean? It's like, these are not horror films. Now, Helen, there are some scary bits in Beetlejuice.
If you're young watching it.
Yes,
I saw it
Yeah.
at 6 and thought it was a bloody hilarious comedy, so I don't know.
Why shouldn't we remake it? I think the outfits, the costumes are great in it. The musical I love as well.
Right.
The only little creepy thing is the little priest dude who comes out from under the fire and marries them. He was a bit weird looking. And then there's the hands from the Harry Belafonte song when they pull him in.
Yeah.
I think that was gas, but anyway.
As a child, this is the reason. I think this might have been the reason why I never got into horror. Although I do remember my dad watching something at home that was terrifying, some horror film.
Your dad plays a key role in so many of your growing up film memories as well.
Yeah.
Got him on
Dad.
the shelf.
Austin Powers,
Yeah, that was it. Austin Powers, of course.
which turned into Eight-Legged Freaks.
Yeah.
So
It's a horror movie that you've seen.
Oh my god. Yeah, I never want that remade ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Nine-Legged
Scrap
It was
Freaks.
like 2 weeks ago we had a remake here and it was live action horror spider.
So Beetlejuice is your answer for what comedy would you remake if you were remaking it today?
This is genuine how much I do not know about horror.
You could go dark with Beetlejuice if you wanted
you
to.
could.
You
That's
could if
fine.
you want. You like go really like 18.
Rory is yet to say anything about this. He's like just
It was either that or Supersonic. They were genuine
Okay.
my two options.
For me, Supersonic was pretty horrific. It's the Gallagher brothers, man.
That's scary too. Okay.
Have a crossover.
Okay.
Beetlejuice and Supersonic.
okay. So we got Silent Hill, we've got Beetlejuice. Paul, what did you go for?
I'm gonna go for Dumbledore. No, not a comedy this time. Has elements of comedy in it, but like you said, I'm kind of when horror remakes are done well, something like Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, it's very surprising. But a lot of them, the reason why you make remakes are there in the first place, that they have like a fan base and they know they're gonna make money. So, and the original is so good, it's kind of hard to top the originals. So I prefer remakes to go for something that might be kind of like a rough diamond, the original, but room to polish it. Like I thought The Crazies recently was a really good example of that, which is a Romero film that wasn't as loved as the other stuff, but the remake was pretty good. So I'm going to go for a 80s kind of screwball comedy called Critters.
Which,
I'm
Which
so
actually
happy
is,
right now.
it's like a bit of a rip-off of Gremlins, but they're like these ferocious little killing monsters who torment a local town.
so
They have basically just ravenous. They eat everything around, and it actually is. It was
relate.
15s. Tongue in cheek though as well, because it was a reaction to like how well Gremlins did, but these aren't as nice as Gremlins. They actually like talk to each other and they curse and they kill people. Genuinely had a few scary beats, but still tongue in cheek. Like there's a moment they come across an ET doll, rip the head right off it, so it's kind of that irreverent humor. And who is in it? It's the mother from ET is in it. Dee
Oh,
Wallace.
really?
And here's a guy. I looked up the director. He actually went on and made Bill and Ted, two of them, The Mighty Ducks and Three Musketeers. A guy called Stephen Herrick.
This guy's amazing.
I know.
An unbelievable
I'd
CV.
never heard of him before even, and he did Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Unreal. Greatest director ever.
So that's so wrong.
Rory's face. She's just-
And if you watch the original, there's a very young Billy Zane with hair in it.
Amazing. I'll be honest, I haven't seen Critters. I'd add it to the,
It's one
to
of
the
those
extensive
video.
list
It's
of...
one of those like video nasties, kind of like
Right,
you used to
okay,
rent on the exhibition shelf. I think it only cost about $2 million, made a load of money. There's about 5 of them in the franchise. The most recent was straight to DVDs, but I think if they took a chance, it could probably do something. Because the horror comedy ones are hard
If they
to get.
kept it kind of horror comedy, they'd probably make a bucket load on merchandise and stuff
Yeah.
off the back of it as
There's
well.
a cool thing like
if they
these
did it
little
properly.
spikes that when they fire into you, they like poison their victims and they die, and then they eat them alive. And then if they all combine, they get into one gigantic ball and just steamroll people and eat them.
Oh,
So
sounds
it's
quality.
kind of like Piranha. that
So
type of
Critters, we've got a little, I was going to say sneak peek at the brand new remake. Okay, but this is the original one. So for everybody who's listening to the show today, they're speaking fluent critter in that clip, of
right.
which none of us. So there are actually subtitles. So Paul, for the sake of the listeners, what were the
Yeah,
critters
so basically
saying?
they're about to kill this family with Dee Wallace, the mother from Elliot's man from E.T., and they get guns and shoot one of them, and they have a little conversation and goes, "Holy fudge," not the word fudge. They've got weapons, so it's that kind of tongue-in-cheek, irreverent, stupid humor. So yeah, if you're an '80s kid, it always reminds me like going to X Vision. Your dad just taking like
those are the
a horror
days.
DVD or VHS. So I always remember Critters from X-Vision, which I ended up working on. So
Yeah. Okay, so Rory, have any of these answered, apart from your own, have any of these answered the question yet?
They've answered it.
Okay.
That's that.
I'm so excited for your answer, Owen. I really am.
I think I'm going to do all right with my answer. So, so we've had Silent
I
Hill,
feel Justine has seen
Beetlejuice,
more horror
Critters.
than you have.
I don't think so.
No, you think Justine's seen more horror than me?
Yeah.
Really?
In real life, or like
I've seen a lot, man. So mine is from the 1960s. I remember seeing it years ago, back when I was a teenager. Well, it wasn't that long ago. But it's Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Okay.
Okay, so we're getting back on track.
I know
I'm
you
excited.
said-
you
It's
mentioned
genuinely
before,
a
yeah.
horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason, again, for some reason, this stuck with me for years and years, and it's probably again because of Hitchcock. Like we've said before, you know, if you can take something that's completely mundane and normal and just turn it completely terrifying, something that you see every single day, then you've done like a good job as a horror. So whether it's like the shower from Psycho or the phone in Scream,
Sea and Jaws.
yeah, exactly. Just going swimming in Jaws. And in this, obviously, just The Birds. And again, when I was thinking about, again, wrestling with this question, trying to figure out what, because so many of the films that I have seen out of the horror movies that I actually have seen, I really like those ones as well. And I wouldn't want to see those be remade. And this one I thought, well, maybe this one would be. But the more I kind of watched some of the clips, I was like, holy shit, there's some terrifying moments in this one as well.
Yeah.
They scares.
Yeah, like people getting their
phone
eyes
box
pecked
scene
out.
is amazing.
The phone box scene. So the only reason I kind of stuck with it in terms of an answer for this week as well is because I suppose it's off the things of things like The Lion King and how well they can recreate live looking animals, as well as in the original Birds they used a mixture of puppets plus live birds as well.
Yeah.
With Tippi Hedren.
One of them poked her eyelid off.
Yeah, which is like really controversial as well. And she became like, she was a massive animal rights activist as well. You're like, even after filming The Birds. But so I think this is one that could be really well done in a subtle kind of way, because things like whenever Bird Box with Sandra Bullock was released, I think whenever you have films even today,
There birds in there?
there were
Yeah,
like
it
they
was
were
a sanctuary at the end, wasn't that where they got to it and have drowned out the noise?
yeah.
But it wasn't
there's-
the birds.
No, but it wasn't the Birds played a different kind of role there. But even when you have a modern day film where they have birds behaving,
Birdemic.
Birdemic as well. But even when they have, even if it's a crappy, there was like a film like called Dark Skies years ago. But there was like a terrifying moment where like birds like hit the window, and that still, as a genuine jump shock, still works really well. So I think the potential of remaking this would be really,
And also,
would be really
like
strong.
everyone's remade Hitchcock wasn't like Disturbia, Rear Window, Eagle Eye was North by Northwest. Like in a way, they're not shot for shot or the name, but they're essentially
Except for
those
Psycho.
films.
Except for
Psycho,
Gus Van Sant,
which was a
Psycho,
literal shot for shot remake.
But the good thing about this, it's based on a book by Daphne du Maurier as well. So you have an original like kind of source material, and basically the theme of the film is just unexplained violent bird attacks, which is just genius. But so this is a little look at The Birds.
Would you like some mustard with that?
No, thank you.
Why didn't Annie stay for dinner?
Said something about going home to take a call from her sister in the east.
What's the matter with them?
What's the matter with all the birds?
Where'd you want this coffee?
In on the table, honey.
Hurry up with yours, Midge. I'm sure Miss Daniels wants to be on her way.
I think you ought to stay the night, Melanie. We have an extra room upstairs and everything.
That road can be a pretty bad one at night, too, you know.
Well, if I go across to Santa Rosa, I'll come out on the freeway much earlier, won't I? Yes, and the freeway is much quicker.
Yeah, but she'll be hitting all the heavy traffic going back to San Francisco.
Just listen to those lovebirds.
Mitch.
Cover your faces! Cover your eyes!
If The Birds was ever to be remade, we're going to go with Paul's working title, which is
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds. I'll take it. I'll go see that film. So no, I think this would be amazing. They've got crows, starlings, seagulls, just all for no reason whatsoever. Just the birds are attacking all the humans. And as I said, there's some terrifying scenes in it. There was one I was watching back. the woman goes into the house and just finds a guy in the house with his eyes poked out, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? But the reaction to it is brilliant. But yes, so Silent Hill, Beetlejuice, Critters, and the Birds. Watch this space, Hollywood.
Like if you didn't know what the question was, and you gave some of those 4 answers, and like, what do you think the question was?
No, we wouldn't get to what your question was.
No.
No, sorry about that. So that's it for this week's big question. If you'd like to tell us what horror movies you think should or could be remade, you can tweet us at Big Reviewski, or you can get in touch on Instagram or Facebook on Joe as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the show, where you'll get to see loads more questions and hear loads more questions that we haven't answered accurately, which is just, it's our thing. So now though, it's time for the big trailer on the Big Reviewski, and for this week's big trailer, it's hello, how you doing? It's over to me, and we will be taking a look at the brand new Star Wars trailer coming up very soon. In the past week, we've seen brand new trailer for Terminator. What else was there? There was something else. There was another
Joker?
big
Jojo Rabbit.
There was a brand new Joker. There was Jojo Rabbit as well. Jojo Rabbit one looks really good, but the one that kind of stood out, mainly because I haven't got a clue what it's about really, is Lucy in the Sky, which is a brand new film starring Natalie Portman. So before we get chatting about it, this is a little look at the brand new film Lucy in the Sky.
I'm giving everything to this program, to the mission.
Kills me to say it, but our girl's been pretty inconsistent recently.
Cola aboard?
Negative. I can finish.
Cola!
She's a tough cookie.
Get the latch off!
Not everyone can handle the ride.
I'm pulling you out of the running for Orion.
No. If I were a man, you would...
Excuse me?
I know what you're doing, but you're gonna lose. Because I'm a winner. This is not a drill, cadet. Grab your stuff.
What are you doing?
With her, I'm officially beginning to worry.
You're acting so strange.
I'm good. All systems go.
What's it like up there?
Only place where anything makes sense.
I hear that.
So Lucy in the Sky, it's coming out this December. But did you all get a chance to look at this trailer?
Yeah.
Are you intrigued, or like what are you? You're terrified. You're terrified.
Of all the great stuff on there, I'm just dwelling on Nick Offerman's wonderful beard.
Yeah, it's
There's
stunning.
And
Quality
Dan
beard.
Stevens has a mustache that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
So in terms of cast, we got Natalie Portman in
Rocking a hairdo.
in the
Yeah.
titular role as Lucy. I don't know who plays this guy. You've also got John Hamm in there as from the trailer, like
The very average
potentially-
looking John Hamm.
So like there's a
Very
shot of him
bang average.
there in the back of the pickup truck, and you're like, what? How can he be more handsome than he usually is? So you got John Hamm, Natalie Portman, but again, from reading up on the film, I had no idea that her husband in the film is played by Dan Stevens. And there's another astronaut in it as well, who's played by Zazie Beetz. So in terms of
Loves Zazie Beetz.
yeah, in terms of your two mains, John Hamm and Natalie
Two
Portman,
mains.
and then your two
Appetizers.
yeah,
And for dessert.
and then you've got Beetz and Ham in there, so like both of them work.
Yeah. All right. I mean, all right.
But as I said, wasn't really sure what this
What
is
is
about, because it
happening?
kind of
Yeah.
starts off. She plays an astronaut. She has this lengthy mission up in space, and it's that thing of whenever she comes back to Earth, you're never really the same person as you were whenever you left the planet, and no one else can really relate to what she's been through, apart from a very small group of people who have been up in space before. It's like everybody who's appeared on the Big Reviewski. It's only a small.
Just survivors group.
Changes,
Small-
man.
This is a survivors group. But as the trailer goes on, it seems that she's determined to get back up into space, but also
What's
that
the
she's
long-term goal there, though?
I don't know, like get up in space for like 5 minutes, 5
Left her
days.
wallet there or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
like,
what
yeah.
it is.
I feel it gives off the impression that she's got some drug rush feeling from being up there when she was looking down on Earth, and she needs that back. But her mental health seems to be deteriorating the more this goes
So the longer
on.
the trailer goes on, it seems like you see her in a blonde wig, as if she's willing to do anything to get back up there. So no, I was suitably intrigued when I was watching it. What did you think?
Well, it's based on a true story.
Oh.
Right.
So,
So there's that.
So there's that.
That's one thing I hate at the end of horror films. You ever watched a horror film and then says based on a true story? Then I'm like, oh,
No, the
get
very
it.
To this day, Pyramid Head
It's like
still has not been
Beetlejuice.
caught.
Can't say Beetlejuice's name. Still can't. Still
Pyramid
afraid.
and Kit still very happy together.
So happy together on the red carpet of Game of Thrones. There's Pyramid Head. He's back.
So there's that, and the other one is the directorial debut of
Oh,
Noah
yes.
Hawley. I think
Hawley,
it's
that's the one, yeah.
who did Legion with Dan Stevens,
Of course.
and Fargo, the TV show version
wow.
of Fargo.
So he created and wrote those two series.
He wrote the first season. No, I'm thinking Drew Goddard. It's like ignore me.
But as you were saying, Roy, you're a huge fan of Legion. As you said, stars Dan Stevens as well. And to this day, I think especially the first season of Fargo is one of the most perfect pieces of
some trippy
of
stuff thrown into
TV
Fargo just
ever.
changes it completely. Yeah.
So having him there making his feature film debut along with that cast, along with it being based on what is probably a bit of a bonkers true story as well. I really like the look of this.
Yeah.
Portman's up, like she's like, give me that second Oscar.
Yeah, 100%.
This is her like version.
Of Ad Astra.
No.
No?
This is her version of
Space
Lucy
Daddy.
in the Sky. She's like, I've won an Oscar. I need to win another one.
Oh, I need another one.
Parallels.
Life imitates art.
Parallels.
So in September this month, we do have Brad Pitt's kind of gunning for an Oscar as well, according to all the reports.
Space Daddy.
Yeah, where he plays Space Daddy. He's looking for a Space Daddy in Tommy Lee Jones.
Space-themed films recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one seems to have just a similar
Well,
kind
nothing to
of
say
feel.
about them just saying Space Daddy and over again.
I'm trying to
Mammy.
just block it out.
Maybe
Just seems
Natalie
completely immune to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe she
Space
wants.
Mammy.
Maybe she wants to go up for a Space Mammy. That's
Yeah,
what we think
she's
it could be
Space
about.
Mammy and he's Space Daddy. It's perfect. They're going to start a little space family.
All right.
Okay. So Lucy in the Sky, aka Space Mammy, is released on the 6th of December 2019. So we're all looking to that very much. December's going to be a cracker of a month just because Santa comes. And we're all really excited about that. And we got presents. We'll have to do like a wee Secret Santa thing here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of getting off track here, aren't we?
Great.
My mammy.
No, I think he's going to bring it back around to December. It'll
No,
come
but
back
first
around.
of all, my mommy at the weekend, like what month are we? We're September now.
Yeah.
My mommy at the weekend started getting on to my brother and saying, will you sort out the Secret Santa for this Christmas?
Oh my.
And he's like, what are you talking about?
How many
It's
family
so-
members do you have?
Yeah, no, there's a few of us.
A good dairy family.
Yeah, it's a
Let me-
good
let me-
dairy It's a
Let
good
me
dairy
rephrase.
family.
How many people do the Secret Santa?
Not that many.
Not
Like
enough
less
to
than 10,
warrant, like,
not to
4
warrant like a
months of
4-month
planning.
lead in. No.
You'd have a discussion with your mother.
But so that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to December. One of the other reasons.
Here comes that watch.
Here comes
Nice.
segue alert.
Nice.
It is going to be the release of The Rise. I was trying to do the Emperor's voice. The Rise of Skywalker.
You just
This
said
is
like
more
you just woke
whispered.
up.
Sounded
Yeah,
like, sounded
yeah.
like Swayze.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
There you go.
Conan Doherty would be a fan.
Yeah.
But like current day Swayze.
So I feel like I'm going to defer over to Paul Moore for this because we are massive Star Wars fans here. We're very excited about this particular film. But because it was released at the Disney Expo just recently.
D23.
Yeah, D23. So
Yeah,
excited.
all the promo. The first promo was great. It just showed you a little, just enough to get you excited, but not to give the whole thing away. Like you saw that great scene of Rey jumping over the what we think's a TIE fighter, but this one kind of kept on that theme. There's some unbelievably good shots, particularly Rey with the dual bladed lightsaber, which is different to Darth Maul's. This is getting really geeky.
So no, but
'cause
what
it
are we
flips over.
calling this lightsaber? Like a foldy over lightsaber?
A double bladed, I'd call it.
Penknife lightsaber? Double bladed.
Double
okay.
bladed. That's just really geeky. Star Wars stuff, yeah. But there's some really cool stuff as well. We got to see what I think looks like a fight on the Death Star in the water. Reminded me a bit of, do you remember Attack of the Clones, Django against Obi-Wan and Kamino?
That's
that
right,
Fight
yeah,
reminded me a
yeah.
bit of that, which was a really underrated action sequence. We got to see Poe Dameron and Finn back together. The bromance is going strong, which we didn't see enough of in The Last Jedi, I think. Finn was really wasted, I thought, in The Last Jedi. He kind of, his character just kind of
Loved
didn't
booze.
do much, you know.
Laura Dern didn't care for him.
Yeah.
No, she really didn't. Hero.
But what's interesting is that Abrams said that his vision for this film wasn't influenced by what Rian Johnson did on Last Jedi. So obviously Abrams did Force Awakens, so he's sticking to what he wanted to start and dovetail the final trilogy. But there's also some cool scenes, Rey throwing the lightsaber and catching it, which if you look at the same background, you see one shot of Leia on some grass planet, and Rey is doing that on the grass. So maybe, and I don't know anything. Maybe Leia could be teaching Rey some Force stuff. Now that Luke
Force stuff, that's
now
what
that
it's
Luke,
called.
we presume will be back as a ghost. Mark Hamill is involved in this.
Yeah, I suppose.
Could be a flashback though.
Yeah, it's so hard to know these days
Yeah.
because there's so much footage from before.
That's
There's
part,
so
of the,
many.
that's part of the appeal of it.
Yeah,
You
and there's a
want to
massive
know.
use of like voiceovers and stuff as well. So
Fairly ballsy to use footage from any of the prequels. at
So
all.
this is what I was going to get to as well. It's one of the first times where they've actually acknowledged the existence.
I seem proud of it.
Yeah, of the prequels.
Yeah.
Obviously, Phantom Menace gets absolutely slated right, left, and
Revenge
centre.
of the
But
Sith,
Attack
I'd
of the
still
Clones,
stand over
Revenge
Revenge of the Sith. I think
Attack
it's
of the
pretty
Clones
good.
is worse than Phantom Menace.
Do you think?
Yeah.
You're like, I know so. Because they do use a shot of Natalie Portman, hello, Lucy, with Anakin Skywalker, and from their wedding scene, you're like, that's one of the worst scenes in the
That's a
whole
terrible-
thing.
That's a
That's not
terrible
the sand bit.
No,
is
it's
it?
not
Oh,
the sand
God.
scene, but
Where he feeds her a peach. He's like,
let's call me by your name.
those
Those two things. Attack of the Bones. Anyway, this is a look at the Rise of Skywalker.
Your journey. Yes, it's him.
We were mentioning it's hard to know kind of what direction they're going with this because with the voiceovers you hear some of Luke Skywalker, you hear some of the Emperor as well. They've used, who we presume is the Emperor, kind of talking over it as
They've
well.
kind of said McDermott's there, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, anyone who watched, Return of the Jedi will know he had a kind of a cosmic death and lightning thing. But I'm delighted. Yeah, I love the Emperor. As soon as he was introduced, I thought he looked the coolest villain, and even his own personal stormtroopers with the Red Guard, which they brought back in The Last Jedi, where it was the original idea. But Ian McDermott is so good. Like one of my favourite scenes in the whole saga is that speech he gives with Anakin when he's turning him at the opera. So like if you get to see any of the Emperor in this, I'd be delighted.
Yeah, no, definitely. Some other standout shots because they know exactly. Nobody does like kind of teasing something. Who knows about like kind of the delivery on it, but nobody does teasing like J.J. Abrams basically. So, but he that shot of, as you mentioned, Paul, the Star Destroyers, because I actually sat and counted. There's about 85 that I can see in that single shot, which is a lot of Star Destroyers.
Big your family.
The what?
As big as your family.
It's a very
Almost as big as Secret Santa's going to be a nightmare in the Empire this year.
doing Secret Santa in the Star Destroyers is actually easier.
Than mine. And that's why Mommy's just getting them to make an early start on it. Like she knows how difficult it's going to be. But one of the main talking points was what looks like either evil C-3PO or hungover C-3PO or off his face on drugs C-3PO.
Yeah, or touched his eye after eating chili.
That's what it is. Both eyes, and then
Space chili.
When to take his contacts out. Yeah. Oh my God, damn eyes!
Forgot there's pepperoni on that.
But actually, that seems to be the most plausible explanation for C-3PO's red eyes.
So 2 questions: is Palpatine alive? What do we think?
I think he did tell the story about how Darth Plagueis could cheat death.
Yeah.
So maybe he kind of learned some ways to stay alive in the Force and inhabit a new form, maybe something like that.
I think he's back in some capacity, yes, where he is able to communicate to either Kylo Ren
But
or
also,
Rey or both.
even the title itself's a mystery, The Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
because we presumed the Skywalker family would pass with Luke and, Kylo Ren is a solo, technically, so he might have some Skywalker genes in him, but yeah. So, is there another Skywalker out there? Is it Rey? Who knows?
Second question?
The shot of evil Rey. Is that a dream sequence? Is that...
So, yeah, all the theories. So, the shot that you're talking about is the one with the folded lightsaber, where she's wearing dark
Swiss
robes.
Army lightsaber.
Yeah, and somebody did a brilliant version of that where it has like a corkscrew on it, like a little pair of scissors and all as well, which is so well done. But, so she seems to be in some kind of metallic dented interior. She's got those dark robes. She's got that double lightsaber, and everything would hint that Yeah,
She's bad.
Could be that. Could be like that
not the
moment in
friendliest
Jedi. You know,
one.
when she looked in the reflective thing and she saw nothing.
Yeah.
But like, you know, in Empire Strikes Back, Luke sees that picture of Vader's helmet. And it's
Yeah,
him.
and
Could
it's
be
him
something like that. Who
inside the
knows?
Vader helmet. Yeah, so either way, it's an amazing looking
Still haven't
shot.
seen Star Wars. Don't know what I'm talking about.
You don't know what you're talking
I blacked
about.
out. What
yeah,
happened?
Yeah. But is this another one that we can all go and see together? Would that be all right? Like
Oh, Christmas
a
time.
wee Christmas film. Yeah.
And we can give each other our gifts there. At
Yeah, that's brilliant. Will we do that?
Then we should bring them to a horror.
Christmas horror.
Yeah.
Christmas horror. Okay. Neither of them said yes, but I'm going to
I'd
say
say
that they're
yes,
going
yeah.
We can do it in Derry.
Okay.
Bring Rory up for the first time.
Perfect. To the Omniplex.
And we all know
Oh,
Justine
my
loves
nightmares
Derry.
come true at once.
Yeah,
Do you heart Derry?
I do love Derry. Would I wear the hat if I didn't? No.
Probably
Good
not.
Omniplex
would
in Derry
not.
too.
So myself and Paul are obviously big Star Wars fans, but are either of you excited about the Rise of Skywalker? Or could you? You can. I don't see you wearing I Heart Skywalker cap
Star Wars,
today.
yeah.
He's got you there, Justine.
Yeah,
very true.
Where are the rest of your caps?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest.
Geek.
Yeah, no, I'm not as diehard into it as you would be, but I am still excited. Love a good lightsaber.
Love a good lightsaber. Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Well, it looks like there's
Yeah.
some quality lightsabers
Yeah.
in this one, so you'll be in for a treat. Rory, do you also love a good lightsaber?
I mean, yeah, who doesn't? No, yeah, like my favorite Star Wars movie is Force Awakens. So
Yeah.
I'm of that ilk where like I'm not as huge a fan as either of you. So like if during this and they're like, oh, it's time travel and she's gone back through time and she's killing old versions of people and that's why everyone's back, and I'd be like, yay, and other people would be like, what? No, that will go against everything that's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, I won't care that much.
Yeah,
But
I'll be like, damn, look at that lightsaber.
yeah, look at the time traveling lightsaber. Good. So yeah, like when I seen the footage for this, I was like, this is cool.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things they've done brilliantly well since the release of Force Awakens is just their teasers and their full trailers have just all been brilliantly put together.
Do you remember the trailers for
the prequels?
Phantom Menace? They were amazing
Fantastic.
trailers.
But like, even
They know
though
what they're doing with trailers.
Even
like,
the poster, like the Jake Lloyd's image onto
Yeah,
the
the
wall. is
shadows.
still one of the best
good,
posters ever. Yeah.
So
yeah.
not
so
to
we'll
say,
see.
yeah.
We'll see.
Be faith in Abrams.
Yeah.
Abrams rarely goes wrong.
No. Because this is going to be a conclusion to this part of the story. So no, it's going to be amazing. Can't wait. So Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker out on the 19th of December. The four of us are going. Will you come with us?
I think a few
More
other
than
people
welcome.
might go around the world.
Yeah,
Go see
possibly.
it.
As long as you bring us presents for
And
it
as long
well.
as you go
Yeah.
see it in Omniplex.
Yeah.
And that as well. Okay, so we'll see you there. Now, though, as we said, it's time for some Derry-focused action. It was, as I said, the most successful horror film of all time.
Yeah.
Made an absolute bucket load of cash. So inevitably, there's a sequel. Pennywise has returned. And he was hiding on the show a couple of weeks back. Scared the crap out of people who were watching.
He took the form of a spider and attacked us.
Oh, that as well. Right, okay. I didn't realise you could change form, but there you go. But yes, so It Chapter 2 is out in cinemas this week. Is it exactly about 2 years to the day since
2 years to the
since first
weekend,
one?
more or less, yeah.
So before we hear Rory's review of the film, here's a little look at Pennywise.
We made an oath.
I swear. If it isn't dead, if it ever comes back, we'll come back to it.
We didn't stop it.
Pennywise.
The clown. We can't let it happen again.
Hello?
Kid! Kid! Hello. Please.
You okay?
Not really. Are
no.
you okay? No. While me and Justine just kind of get our breath back, we're going to throw over to you, Rory and Paul, for this one.
Well, Paul and I were fans of the first one.
Loved, oddly, I loved the characters more than the horror sequence. I kind of loved the Stand By Me vibe of the first, and while I did appreciate the money and the gore. I thought some of it went a bit cartoonish and some of it was on the money, but really interested in where the Losers Club were going for the second one.
Yeah, so this picks up 27 years later, because apparently Pennywise comes along every 27 years.
Oh, is that a thing?
That's a thing, yeah.
27 years.
And
okay.
the town of Derry in the movie, in Maine, has become, again, another place where like evil things start to happen. The film opens with a really uncomfortable, very like realistically violent homophobic attack. Which then kind of leads to the proper return of Pennywise. And there's one person from the Losers Club who has stayed in Derry, and he rings the rest of them. He's like, listen, lads, clown's back. We thought we killed him. You're all going to have to come back and help me get rid of him for good. But because they left the town, they have no memory of what they did when they were there, when they were kids.
Ooh,
but when they return, they're like, oh yeah, the clown. And the eating of children.
Celine Dion, it's all coming back to me. Kicks in.
Exactly.
Celine Dion is Pennywise.
In certain ways, they do have a lot in common.
Celine Dion only comes out every 27 years.
Think twice about that joke.
That was actually pretty good. So they come up with a plan to defeat him once and for all. And the plan involves, I'm not kidding, an ancient Native American ritual that involves crossing parallel universes to return this interdimensional creature from where he came. Now, that's a big jump
that's
from...
a mouthful.
That's a big jump from a scary clown that we were used to in the first movie that could kind of manifest itself into whatever you were afraid of. Like the kids who were afraid of germs, he became like a weird, gross, like lecherous old man. And in this... I've said this before. It needs to have rules to be scary.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of reminding me of the first one where I was like, why can't he just kill them whenever he wants?
Yeah.
Like he kind of gives the answer in the first one where he's like, I prefer to kill them when they're filled with fear because their meat tastes better.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, all right, but they're afraid all the time because you're a scary clown and you've got like shark teeth whenever you want to like chow down on them. So when I was watching this, I was like, he could just kill them whenever he wants, but there was no reason to it. And there was no reason to it for nearly 3 hours.
Oh.
Like it's 2 hours, 52 minutes long.
Is this true? That's not like a special cut or anything?
No,
the actual
no. The original cut
hours.
apparently was 4 hours.
Oh,
and so he did us the favor of making it just that bit shorter. But like horror is something that can't be sustained for too long.
Yeah.
Because after a while, you just get used to it, and you're like, "Well, now I'm in this now, so this is fine." Like the casting is great. Like what they've done to find the matches of the younger versions of themselves. Like Bill Hader is incredible in this. Like people are having that conversation like they had about Bill Skarsgård in the first one, where he's like, "Oh, he'd probably get an Oscar nomination." Like I could see it for this because he's really, really good. Jessica Chastain and James McAvoy, they're all like really good variations of the kids who came in the first one. But once you're reintroduced to them, it's several hours of
literally
of them just like, oh, I find this scary, and I've survived it, and moving on to this thing, and we're in another scary thing, and it's like a conveyor belt of.
Like, is it showing the same things that they were scared of as kids? And
sometimes, but like, and then other times, no, just like random stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like there was a scene that we talked about a lot where it was they're using the most blood ever in a single scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. And then when that scene is happening, I sat there and I was like, why is this happening? She's never at one point said, I'm afraid of blood, or like the blood starts to fill the room. There's no mention of like being afraid of drowning or anything. So I was just like, why is this happening though? So it was more just, it was like someone had a lot of ideas for horror set pieces and was like, do we need to make sense of these? Like, feck it.
Yeah.
We'll tie them together.
And oddly, I would have found that the threat of violence is what kind of draws you to horror, just that feeling that you're on edge. Because in the original miniseries, one of my favourite sequences, I'm looking forward to seeing this, is the bit in the library, or in the bookstore, when Pennywise just subliminally appears and you see like the balloon, and then he's there. And there's a scene as well with the an older man, I think, as well. Pops up in this from the original miniseries. So
Neither of those are in this.
yeah. Oh
No.
well, then that's not room for me.
There's other things where like that was a good scene. But like they feel so episodic.
Okay.
And like you could feel like you just take it out and put it anywhere.
Well, maybe that ties in with the trailer themselves, because I know months ago we had the original trailer as the big trailer on the show, and then after Comic-Con we had the brand new trailer, and both of those were so we're really looking forward to the film, obviously, especially that one when they're like in kind of the Hall of Mirrors with James McAvoy and the boy is trapped.
Oh yeah.
And Pennywise is there, and maybe that feels, from what you're saying, like one of those. It's a really good idea, and maybe it works.
And it looks great,
and it looks super. Yeah,
that's actually one of the few ones where you're like, okay, I can understand why this is happening, because he still feels guilt over losing his little brother in the first movie, so he's trying to protect this other little boy that's become a target. And he takes it upon himself, and you're like, okay, why is it in a funhouse though? Why is it in a Hall of Mirrors? Was that ever mentioned before? Like, it just seems to be like, let's just do it because it looks cool.
Yeah, yeah. Again, there's a shot of Bill Skarsgård with like kind of a version of Pennywise as well, where he seems to be more human almost, but like really decrepit and old as well. And as you said, he got so many plaudits after the first film was released. Does he put in a good performance alongside, like an unreal cast with Billy Hader, Jessica Chastain?
As good as he is in the first one, but he's barely in it. Oh, like they've really cut back of him as Pennywise. A lot of Pennywise's scenes are him. It's in the trailer and stuff. You see him as an old woman or disguised as different creatures. Like actually as Pennywise, he's not in the film that much. There's one scene which is his best scene, and it wasn't in the book, where it's the longest talking scene he has. It's not with any of the Losers Club. It's just with some random girl in the town. And we were watching it, like for the entire scene, I was like, because that was like, this is what the film should be. It's like this is what the whole thing should have been. And because it's so simple, it's just him and a little girl, and she's isolated from everyone else around. No one notices that she's talking to him. And that was brilliant. And then there's just the like Jessica Chastain in a room filling with blood, and you're like, all right.
You're like, I've seen this before. I've seen Zero Dark 30. In terms of like the audience that you went to go and see it, because one of the most, I know we've only, as we said, we haven't seen that many horror films, but it's a lot of fun going to see a really scary movie with an audience who are in that fine line of completely crapping themselves and all of the nervous laughter, which we said before, whenever Quiet Place was released last year, and after one of the particularly scary scenes, the screening that I was at, somebody knocked over a water canister, and the metallic kind of can like hit the ground and scared a group of people, and then that just rippled through, and the whole place was pissing themselves laughing. But at the same time, I was like, oh my God, do you find that funny? Oh my God, oh, we're going to die. So was it good watching it with an audience, even though it is 4 days long?
Well, that is, like, that's hard for me to answer, because I didn't see it with an audience.
Right, okay.
One of the downsides of this job is that we have to see films like this at like 10 a.m. on a Monday. So, and it's normally in a screen that's either completely empty or just mostly empty, filled with other jaded journalists like me. So we're like,
well, 10 a.m. on a Monday is usually scary enough anyway. You don't need
especially when you know you're there for 3 hours.
That's true. It will still do phenomenally well because of the love that's there for it. I know loads of cinemas as well are going to be doing like double builds, showing the original as well. I remember whenever it was screened back in Derry, we actually held the Irish premiere back in Derry whenever the first one was released in 2017. People like dressed up as clowns as well. I was kind of hoping some of us would be dressed up today, but
hello.
Oh, geez. Sorry, you clearly have made a phenomenal effort today. What if we all just appeared in
clown costume?
Yeah, no. What if we all just appeared in clown costumes?
I don't think we have the budget for that.
That worked every other week, not this week. Okay, so It Chapter 2 out in cinemas this week. Do you think there'll be a third one?
Is that a joke?
No.
No.
Okay.
The book's over.
Oh, I don't know. I don't pay
There
attention
is
to books.
more. There is more. Stephen
is
King
a
coming. I think the writer of this is doing Salem's Lot.
Okay.
I think James Wan is involved in the remake of that, which is really exciting. And I think he did a few of the other. I think he did Annabelle, the same writer. So he seems to be quite busy.
Yeah.
And I do think is it Muschietti, director.
Yeah,
I think he's a talented guy. So
He's
yeah,
doing the Flash
I'd
movie
be
next.
interested in him do more horror.
Cool. So out this weekend, no one will listen to what you have to say anyway, Rory. So they'll all
Just
go
you
and say it. Just us three.
Have I
yeah.
successfully talked you both out of
I
going to
didn't
see
see
it?
a horror film.
I was going to see it, and now.
Truth be told, it's not the worst film. It's not. It's just I really enjoyed the first one, and this is a step down.
Had some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know what.
I really like
is
that.
this what happens when you
I
take a
really
week
like
off?
that.
He doesn't have how writing jokes.
Sorry, it was too
Give him
easy.
another take. That's a good take. That's a good take.
You're winning this week, though.
Now it's on to this week's competition. It's time for the high clues. I want to say a big congratulations to Robert Williams, who won himself some tickets to go and see Extraordinary.
Robert?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
actually wrote not Robin Williams because when I first saw it as well, I was like, oh my God, that's where you've been hiding on the internet and doing high clues, but it's not. It's not Robin Williams. Are you Robin Williams? You're not Robin Williams. It's Robert Williams who won himself those tickets to see Extraordinary. So the high clue which he got the correct answer to was He'll Fall for Greek Girl, Hulk's Capital Punishment, Moody Wife's Stolen. And as usual, for everybody who's listening to it, He'll Fall for Greek Girl. He'll was he apostrophe LL. Greek had a capital G. In the second line, Hulk's Capital Punishment, Hulk apostrophe S. And the final line was Moody Wife's Stolen, and wife apostrophe S is how that was written. So, as Justine, you can testify to, all the syllables were
Yes.
present and correct last week.
Absolutely.
You get like such a serious, like adjudicator and proper
official,
inspector.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's like from the Guinness
Checks
Book of
out.
Records. Yeah, I'm not allowed to.
I need a whistle and a little notebook.
So, any ideas of what? Because Paul, you weren't here last week. So
I'm going to think Donald Glover's character in Community.
Donald Glover. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, nailed it. I was like, Donald Glover's not in this one. But yes, if anyone knows the name of Donald Glover's character in Community, that is the name of the film. It is, of course, Abbott. Troy. Troy is the answer for this week's one. It's easy to start at the third line. Moody, wife stolen. Moody was Mad Eye Moody, Brendan Gleeson. And his wife is stolen. Basically, that's the
Helena
starting
Troy.
point, of Troy. So Helen, played by Diane
Agamemnon
Kruger.
is Agamemnon Brian Cox, or is he Agamemnon?
I can't remember which is which, but they're brothers,
Yeah.
himself and Brian Cox, anyway. So basically, his wife is
That's
stolen.
great casting. The two of them look a bit alike.
Brendan Gleeson and Brian Cox, his brothers, is super.
There's that fight when Orlando Bloom weasels away from so
Yeah,
good. Brendan
yeah.
Gleeson was about to thump his head.
Yeah. It's a phenomenal
Peter
cast.
O'Toole as well
So
in
it
there,
is. Yeah.
Great cast.
Yeah.
That's
so.
it, though.
Fights were good.
No, but like it's a great high clue as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
That's why they made the film, for this high clue.
The Achilles Troy fight was pretty good. I thought.
Yes,
That was
yeah,
pretty good.
definitely. And the first bit where Brad Pitt beats the big guy, in one fell swoop. But as we said, Moody wife's stolen, so his wife is stolen, kicks off the whole thing. Plus, she runs the full range of emotions, so she's pretty moody. She qualifies that as well. Yeah. Hulk's Capital Punishment for the middle line. Hulk was a reference to Eric Bana, who plays Hector.
Hector, he does.
Hector, yeah. So his capital punishment.
Hector.
Hector.
From
Hector.
Avon.
Hector. Yeah.
Let yourself go.
Let's go. What?
What's happening?
Hector.
Come on. He's a big whale goer.
Red fiery head on him. Does all the horse racing.
On the travelogue shows on TG4.
Hector, yeah.
Radio personality.
I don't know who
How did
Hector
you
is.
miss this chunk of Irish
Like,
I guess it was like better things to do. Just
nah, you'd know him to see.
No, you would.
Too busy watching movies, Rory, yeah? I'll get you out of this one, don't worry. I'll get you out.
Anyway, Eric Bana, capital punishment equals death, but it's punishment for the actions of his brother, Paris. Of course, it's a capital city, so he's punished for his actions because Orlando Bloom, like the heartthrob he is, a naked paddleboarder, steals Helen of Troy away. And the first line, he'll fall for Greek girl. The Greek girl is Rose Byrne, who's in the film as well. She's a Greek girl, obviously, because it's set in ancient Greece. But she's also the female lead in Get Him to the Greek.
Oh, that was a good layer to lasagna.
As well.
Wow, yeah.
And he'll fall for, that's Brad Pitt, because he falls in love with Rose Byrne. But Achilles' heel.
Oh, wow.
Falls as well.
Troy fell.
Achilles was a Greek god,
Troy
I want to
falls as
say.
well. Which?
Achilles is a Greek god as well, I want to say.
He was one of the characters in it anyway. So
okay.
Oh no, he was. He was like demigod stuff because like he had the superpowers.
His ma
dipped him in the river.
And a god, I think. did
Oh,
some
they
stuff.
read,
That's
did
how
they?
you-
They did it.
That's how you get demigods.
Damn.
You know, got a demi. So no. So the answer was Troy. Anyway, for
And I
this
could see
week's
it on the horizon. I was like, this has to stop.
this week's high clue though. So that was that one. Troy. Done. Are we all ready?
I will get a glove somewhere.
Yeah, please do. Hateful headhunter. Frank works for Allied powers. Farmer rats them out.
Checks out, guys.
Checks out. Sorted, so we may continue. Hateful headhunter. Frank works for Allied powers. In that line, powers has a capital P, and then farmer rats them out. So yeah. Nice wee tidy one this week. Rory, I know you had a sneak peek at this one earlier on, and you've got the correct answer already, but Justine and Paul, any thoughts as to what it...
My mind's instantly drawn to Farmer and
Okay.
a cinematic character with the surname Farmer, I'm thinking.
Okay, interesting.
And I could be completely wrong.
Because
there's only one character I know with the surname
I'm
Farmer.
like, I don't know what you're talking about, so it's probably... not
Frank
the right
Farmer,
answer.
if you remember, was the
Who's
bodyguard.
Frank Farmer?
Kevin Costner.
Oh, is
I
that
don't
his
know why
name?
my mind
In
went
the
to Farmer.
bodyguard?
Wow.
That's such
That's
an
it, yeah.
kind of exciting, unexotic,
That's the
unsexy
name, isn't it?
name.
Frank Farmer.
And you've got Frank
Frank in the
Farmer
second line.
on there.
That's,
Wow.
well, maybe it's the
I don't think I'm
bodyguard.
right.
Ooh,
But I
it's
don't
not
know
the
why my
bodyguard.
mind went to a Whitney Houston, Kevin Costner musical there.
Why not?
Well, we've had Celine Dion already, so
Yeah.
why not Whitney Houston?
Big diva weekend.
All the divas. Speaking of divas, coming up next week on the show, we're going to be taking a look at J.Lo in her brand new film, Hustlers.
Written by Rory Cashin.
Damn.
Written by my subconscious.
This looks amazing. Like Natalie Portman's film earlier on, also based on a true story, which sounds, again, incredibly bonkers. So we're completely on board for that. So we will be taking a look and a full review of Hustlers as well. Anything else? It's great to have the full gang back together.
Well, you know who else we have on next week?
Well, who else do we have
We
on?
have, hopefully, Maeve Higgins and Will Forte.
Of course, the stars of brand new supernatural comedy, horror comedy, Extraordinary.
Already remade.
So yes, they will be coming up on the show because you're going to be chatting to them, aren't you?
Them, yeah.
Dudes MacGruber.
If I don't,
What a hero.
you know,
What a hero.
get too scared.
Yeah, no, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. You're not so sure.
I'd be so tempted to give him a stick of celery and see what he does with it.
Oh, with that, of course.
Yeah.
MacGruber.
What a guy.
Need to go back and watch that as well.
Fan of Ireland.
Okay, I think that's everything.
Downton Abbey's next week as well. It's a big week next week.
I forgot everything.
We should have taken this
Hustlers-
week off to plan for next week.
Hustlers,
That's a great double bill.
Extraordinary.
Hustlers and Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey,
That
yeah,
is a
yeah.
great double bill.
They're in the same cinematic universe, so they are. Yeah, upstairs, downstairs. That doesn't even mean anything. Anyway, we will see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, please, and start thinking about your Secret Santa presents as well. Big thanks to Justine.
Thank
and
you.
your brand new cap. Big thank you to Rory and Paul.
Visit Derry.
Yes, thank you. And Paul and Fiona and Jermid as well, who were helping behind the scenes. And actually, Paul, who's on sound today, wants Critters to be remade. He's a huge fan.
Paul's good
of
taste.
it as well.
He knows
Great
what he's
taste.
doing.
Big fan of Paul.
Us Paul, solidarity.
We'll see you next week. Bye.